Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin' Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today, featuring all the headlines from around the world. And let's start off with some action coming up in the next few weeks. We're going to see Brendan Figueroa take on Magsayo. I believe they're featherweight. Yep. It promises to be a thrilling night in the featherweight division when the two clash in the ring. Both men are gifted athletes in their own right, and the stakes are high as they battle for the title of featherweight champion. Who will come out on top in this highly anticipated showdown? Brendan Figueroa is no stranger to the boxing world. The American boxer has been making waves in the featherweight division for some time now, having won the WBA Super Interim Featherweight title in December 2019, and he's known for his aggressive style and relentless power, often ending fights before they have the chance to truly begin. On the other side of the ring, Magsayo, a Filipino, fighting with a reputation and being quite a formidable opponent, is known for his quick reflexes and agility, making him a difficult opponent to predict in the ring. Magsayo is the current WBO interim world featherweight champ, having won that title back in August of 2019. Both Figueroa and Magsayo have been training hard in preparation for the match of the ages. Figueroa is a seasoned fighter and has been honing his skills for some years now, while Magsayo's agility and unpredictability could be enough to throw Figueroa off his game. It's anyone's fight, and spectators are sure to be on the edge of their seats this upcoming weekend, and I believe it's been selected by Cedric Ben for his show, the scorecard. We'll have, I think it is. But anyway, go to the talkinfight.com website for that information. In other news, we see that Dovhun, who's undefeated, 14-0, and he's number 9 ranked WBA super bantamweight contender, makes the second defense of his WBA and ABA title on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, down in Pittsburgh at the Grand Hall. The popular Ukrainian fighter and Pittsburgh-based Dovhun will headline a 6-bout card promoted by Integrity Fighter Management and Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing. Dovhun's opponent will be Nicaraguan Juan Centeno, now fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Centeno's own career has shown an upward trajectory, and his last 7 outings, he's 4-1-2. Among those victories includes wins over 8-0 Abel Precioso, who's 7-0 Luis Rivera, and 4-0 Fernando Bahena. Dovhun's last fight was back in 2022, on March 18th, a split decision victory over Graham Ilohan at the Paramount Theater in New York. And despite a dominant performance in which Dovhun almost had the lion out in the first round, Judge John Basile had the lone score of 94-96 for his opponent. Dovhun moved to America in 2017 after a successful amateur career with over 347 fights, including some with the Ukraine Ottoman team of the World Series of Boxing. The Ukrainian Pitbull, as he's known, trains at the Congreb Boxing Club in Pittsburgh under trainer Michael McSorley. Dovhun initially won the WBA and ABA crown back in 2021 in November over Baltimore's 14-2 Glenn DeZern. Moving along to other fight news upcoming, Eye of the Tiger management out of Montreal has an event coming up at the casino on March 23rd, which promises to be quite intense. In the main event, Christian Mbilli is 23-0, 20 knockouts, will defend his WBC Continental of Americas and WBA international titles against Ecuadorian heavy hitter Carlos Gongora, who's 21-1, by the way, 16 knockouts of his own. The undercard promised to be just as eventful, with Simon Keane, Mary Spencer, Steve Clackett, Louis Santana, Layla Baudouin, Wilkins Mathieu, all facing off against challenging opponents. Boxing fans will also get to see Eye of the Tiger's newest recruits, John Arobio and Vanessa LePage Jonas, in action. The event will be simulcast on Punch and Grace Network and on ESPN Plus in the United States. The event gets kicked off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time out of, as I say, the Montreal Casino. Elsewhere around the world, we're going to see a decent fight between Arthur and Suarez, their world title clash on March 24th over in Bolton, UK, a Wasserman boxing package. who've just announced the undercard. Top local talent and rising stars are confirmed to feature on Wasserman Boxing's first free-to-air show of 2023, live on Channel 5 from the University of Bolton Arena on Friday, March 24th, in association with Infinitum Entertainment. Manchester boxer Lyndon Arthur, who's 21-1, 50 knockouts, tops an action-packed event as he faces Argentina's Brian Houle Suarez, 18-1, 17 knockouts, for the IBO World Light Heavyweight Championship. An electric undercard will see Wigan's James Moorcroft, 18-2, and Liverpool's Nathan Bennett, 12-3. Put it all on the line in an epic final eliminator for the English welterweight title over 10 rounds. After 3 impressive wins in his beloved Merseyside, Bennett will be looking to pick up from his flawless wins against the likes of Mikhailo Softus, Rustam Fathullin, and Lee Connolly to edge out an incredible eliminator matchup against his domestic foe. Moorcroft will also be looking to build on the foundations of familiar surroundings when he returns for his 3rd consecutive fight in Bolton. After TKO win against Olaid Fajiba in September 22, Moorcroft produced a dominance point win over Sergey Ambomo to set up this tantalizing bout. Ricky Hatton's flyweight protege and former Team GB star Chloe Watson, who's 4-0, will also be returning to take on Carolina Omela Ferrari, 3-2 at flyweight. With the 6th-rounder confirmed, Watson will look to keep her undefeated record going following a dominant points victory over Minerva Gutierrez back in November 2022 at York Hall. They're also fans over in Bolton are also going to see Wolverhampton's Conor Walker, 11-1. He's going to take on Manchester's Kane Gardner, 15-2, in an 8-round super lightweight contest. And another Mancunian features on the card at cruiserweight as Ashley Maron makes his professional debut against the experienced Darryl Pierce. Trey Dubry also makes his professional debut as he lines up a cruiserweight clash over 4 rounds. The undefeated Neil Brown looks to build on his 7 wins. He goes toe-to-toe with fellow middleweight Bahadur Karimi over 6 rounds. So Lyndon Arthur faces Brian Suarez for the IBO World Light Heavyweight Championship on Friday, March 24th. As I said, taking place at University of Bolton Stadium, live and free on Channel 5 for those fans in the UK, promoted by Wasserman Boxing in association with Infinitum Entertainment. Let's continue our trek around the world here. Over to Telford in the UK. Nathan Heaney reports that his dashing good looks are still intact, with his facial features having suffered a brush with the dome of Jack Flatley back in September. Heaney and Flatley were approaching the midway point of a fascinating title fight at the Manchester Arena when a battle was halted after Heaney was sliced open above the right eye following a heavy clash of heads. The fight was stopped on medical advice by referee Steve Gray, and Stoke favourite Heaney was judged to be leading on all 3 cards, therefore retaining his IBO International Middleweight title. The Stoke versus Bolton rivalry will now resume at the Telford International Centre on March 25th, when the pair will rematch with the WBA Continental title on the line. Let's fly over to Cardiff, see what's happening there. Sandy Ryan will clash with Marie-Pierre Houle for the vacant WBO welterweight title on the undercard of the Rakimov versus Cordina fight at the Cardiff International Centre. That's taking place on Saturday, April 22nd, to be shown on DAZN, excluding Australia and New Zealand. Derby's Ryan, who's 5-1, 2 knockouts, was last in action at Wembley's Ovio Arena last November, outpointing Argentina's Anahai Esther Sanchez over 10 rounds in her first defense of her WBC International Super Lightweight title. The former Team GB star, who avenged her one and only loss to former world champion Erica Farias at the Sheffield Arena last summer, steps up to 147 pounds as she bids to become Britain's latest world champion. Canada's Houle, who's 8-1, 2 knockouts, has yet to taste defeat since joining the professional ranks back in June 2019, contesting all but one of her 9 pro fights in her homeland. The 32-year-old from Quebec is promising to inflict Ryan's second defeat in the pros. Now let's conclude with a bit of update information courtesy of our friends over at boxingnews24.com regarding Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. Negotiations have reportedly reached an impasse for the April 29th undisputed heavyweight fight at Wembley Stadium. Let's have a quick little read further here. We know that if this fight were to take place and compare the two fighters, most boxing people would lean heavily on the 6'9" Gypsy King to overpower and knock out the smaller man from the Ukraine. The size and wingspan advantage of Fury will be too much. His movement, footwork, and his ring generalship will be too much. His toughness and power resistance is too much. His ability to switch hit with little effort to confuse his opponents and his ability to hold on and tire his opponents out before mauling and bowling them over will be too much for the 6'3" Usyk. On paper, that's hard to disagree with. Usyk is a much smaller man, so he has to make Fury smaller. No mean feat, but he has to use his engine and set a high pace and get inside and target the body and take Fury's legs away. The author's view is that Fury's legs and his movement has diminished every fight since the Otto Wallen fight. Fury's loading up using his jab for the power right hand more and more since joining the Sugar Hill Kronk gym gang, where the mentality is knock him out and let's go home. But that fight, scheduled to take place originally in Saudi Arabia, fell apart when Tyson Fury simply was asking too much money. Saudis refused to pay, and the fight was tried to then be scheduled for Wembley. But Usyk didn't want to fight at Wembley because he didn't want to take less money. But it would be a really good fight to see because it would be, as I said earlier, for an undisputed title at the heavyweight. But now it doesn't look like it's going to be happening on April 29th. As I said, the negotiations have reached an impasse, although Frank Warren is saying that he hopes to have some kind of deal struck still between the pair for that scheduled date, April 29th, to take place in Wembley. If not, he says, I think Andy Ruiz Jr. is a good opponent, a good name, and he's in good form. Fans would want to see that fight. Fury wants Usyk, he wants Ruiz, he wants Joe Joyce. Tyson's got a couple of years left. He said it's also going to make good business sense as well. He mentions Francis Ngannou as one of the names out there, but you can't be 35 and inactive. He can't stay out of the ring longer than he has. There's no signs of deterioration at all. If anything, he's getting better. He concludes by saying, we're still working on this. I think we will this week, one way or the other, be resolved. And that's according to Frank Warren, Tyson Fury's promoter at Queensbury. Right, boxing fans, that's all the news fit to print today. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin' Fight. Appreciate it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Cedric Ben and Mike Core for Knuckle Up.